Good afternoon, Peter Fury.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for talking to Bayloric TV. So how's things
Pleasure.
been?
Yeah, things are all right. We're just getting on with the job.
Okay. Um, First and foremost, the first question I've got to ask you is, I'm going to take you back to, obviously the last time we spoke, it was before you actually met Vladimir Klitschko at the press conference.
Right.
So, did you have any preconceived ideas before you met the man?
Mm, like what? No, not at all, actually.
In terms of, I mean, had you ever met Klitschko before this moment?
No, I've never had the pleasure.
Okay, so, I mean, in terms of, as a boxing analyst, what you've seen, from a distance, in terms of height, size, weight, mannerisms, media perception, when you saw him, was he any different to what you actually saw of him in the flesh?
Well, he lives up to all his expectations. He's a fine athlete and a great champion, and he uses that in his personality.
Right.
You can see he's a top guy in and out of the ring, isn't he? So what can you say any more about him? He's holds himself properly, very, very professional. So you've got to give somebody like that high regard, and it was nice speaking to him. Very, very, very nice fellow.
Okay, well, that's great to hear. At the press conference itself, when the majority was in German, did that perturb you and Tyson at all, or did you expect those sort of things to be happening?
Yeah, I respect everybody's language. It doesn't mean anything to us, and it was all translated anyway. We had a great reception over there. Mm-hmm. The German people were very civil with us, and we was looked after very well.
Okay, and Tyson's interaction with Klitschko, was that to be expected from you, or you think it's just part of the job, or selling the fight, or was this really genuine?
Well, it's hard to say. Well, it's not me, is it? I haven't said anything. So whatever Tyson's going to say, but I don't think you can really dislike somebody that you don't know. So it's part of the fighters, aren't they? That's what they do. So everybody's got their own makeup of how they go about things. Klitschko's got ease, Tyson's got ease. Right. And, all I can say is thank God it's for people like Tyson in the heavyweight division, because otherwise the people, it needs excitement, doesn't it? So that's
Absolutely.
what he brings.
It's exciting. So one thing that I want to kind of clear up, because as you know, media talks and Twitter talks and social media is around the way that it is, and there's lots of rumours that fly around. I heard an interview recently with Derek Chisora, and it was going back to the point of the negotiation and how the fight actually came together between Tyson and Klitschko. And Derek alluded to the fact, something along the lines of him backstabbing Frank Warren. What was Derek talking about there, and can you bring any clarity to that for us?
Yeah, look, it's absolute all rubbish. Look, people that want to have a lot to say are the ones that's usually, look, we had some I think three fight deal with Frank Warren.
Yes.
So basically, his contract ran out. No more, no less. So, and it was all endeavours to put the fight on with Klitschko. Even when it ran out, I had a conversation with Frank and said to Frank, make the fight. Get Klitschko, make this fight. He couldn't make it for one reason or another. So, and the other thing is we're supposed to be all together. We asked him time and time again what his purse bid was going to be, so we could all join up together. They blatantly refused to tell us what their purse bid was. So, not only had the contract totally expired, even after that fight, I said, make the fight. What is your purse bid? That was totally kept confidential. So we went along and we done our thing, and we was going to purse bids. And, we'd have been bidding against Frank, and Frank would have been bidding against us. We had no idea what he was bidding anyway. So at that stage of the purse bid, the agreement was already out the window because he couldn't make the fight. So it's all right talking about after the event. We're professional people. We've adhered to every step of the way in our contracts. and obliged it in full. So it's not like people saying this, that, and the other. It's what it is.
Well, I'm glad you said that, Peter, because that clears up a lot.
I will say this. I don't backstab anybody. My name's the best there is in business. I am straight down to the core. Anybody wants to have an open debate with me, they're more than welcome. People that talk behind closed doors talk shit. I've got respect for Frank. I've got respect for Bill Ives. You know, we had a contract with them. They paid us well. We fulfilled our obligations. They wanted to make the fight. They couldn't make the fight. For whatever personal reasons they've got, I don't know their business. But they were unable to make the fight. So I don't know the reasons why they was unable to make that fight. But the fight wasn't made. Mick Hennessy, when the contract expired, you know, he was able to make the fight. So I don't know what all the hoorah is about, to be honest. You know, we're not in contract. We had a contract. That contract expired. All this gentleman's agreement and this and that. I said at the very start, this is very funny, this now. When I first met Frank, it was with Tyson in a London hotel. And I said, look, I've heard things about everything else. He said, well, look, don't listen to what you hear. He said, I'm a proper fellow. I said, well, I take people as I see them across the table. I don't listen to second-hand information. I said, but just to let you know, there's plenty of lemons out there. I said, but there's no lemons to be squeezed here. So I said, before we do any deals, I said, bear that in mind. I said, because there's nobody behind the door here. And he said, great, I understand that. He said, and that's why we'll go forward. And we did go forward. And there was no problem whatsoever. So basically, like I said, Frank's a very, very good promoter. He's done a very good job. He's done a very good job with Tyson. They all done the best. But look, if you can't put a world title fight on for whatever reason, and your contract's expired, and our promoter, who's always been our promoter, can, well, where's the argument?
I'm glad you said this because, you know, for all the years I've known you and spoken to you now, you've always come across and you've always been straight guy in all the interviews we've done. So I always, whenever I do these interviews, it's always to keep somebody in their best light, one, and two, to get rid of the rubbish that is always out there. You know.
Yeah, but you know what you get here? It is rubbish at the end of the day. And people can be sore, they can do whatever they want, you know. And it's the only actions of being sore. You know, do you want to be like proper men and just take it on the chin and move on? If you can't make it, you can't make it. I don't know what their reasons are, but it's certainly not of interest to us when we hear these type of things, because obviously it's not true. So when something's not true, it doesn't really affect you that much, does it?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But
so I don't really care what anybody says. Frank Warren, Bill Ives, good people, but obviously the contract ran out, and that was it. And that's for handshakes and all this. That's for handshakes. Let me just tell you, we've had a 65 grand lawyer's bill to deal with all of their shite coming through on a daily basis. Yeah, trying to tie people up upside down in contracts. And I said at the beginning, we don't need a contract. Pay the money in the account up front. We fight. Forget the contract. They wanted the contract in the beginning. So all this I'm hearing about, we had a handshake, we had an agreement. It's all utter bollocks. Because why have we got a 65 grand solicitor's bill if it was all on a handshake? So come on. Get real with it here.
You see now, that's why, you ask one question, it leads you down a road you don't expect, and then you find information out like this. I mean,
but that's not to take anything away from them. They're clever businessmen. Frank deserves all the credit in the world. We're happy. Shorty helped Tyson get to where he got. We're very happy with it. And also another thing, every fighter they offered me, I never said, oh, I don't want this, I don't want that. Every fighter they offered me, I said, yep, no problem, we'll take it, let's do it. We've done a deal there and then, agreed money there and then, me and them, over the table, right, that's where we're at, that's what we're going to get paid, let's get on with it. Have we backed out of it? Have we backed out of any fight? It was done. So I don't know what anybody can have an issue with. And although all this shite gets said, maybe if they want to do something with it in the future, they can. Because it's what it is, isn't it?
So now that this fight is on, and then Tyson becomes world champion in the way that you would want him to be, what happens then? Because is he going to be on Sky? Will he be part of Box Nation? Will you look to do something else with Tyson? What would happen then?
Well, here's another thing. Box Nation's been approached and asked if you want to bid for the fight. So there's definitely no hard feelings on our part, is there? This is a business, and that's where we're at. So it's up in the air. If they want to bid for the fight, they can. I don't know if Mick Hennessy has done a deal with anybody as yet. I've not spoke to him this week.
Right.
But as far as when I spoke to him last week, everybody's still in the running. So it's what it is.
The last thing I heard, Bernd Bunte said that it was going to be on Sky Sports. The fight was a Sky Sports done deal.
Okay, well, maybe it is. We have to wait and see, but I've not had confirmation of that off Mick Hennessy yet.
Okay, if it is on Sky Sports, having the history that was there, obviously we spoke about before in a previous interview about Sky Sports and how sort of you felt like Adam Smith kind of undermined Tyson, calling him a young pretender. Is that a bridge that you're going to have to walk over again, or is that something that's just, well, it's on Sky and it's a one-fight sort of situation? How does that work out now?
No, look, you need to know, and everybody needs to know, nothing is personal with me.
Right.
I've got nothing personal against Sky or any of their pundits, nothing. But if they say something out of turn and I feel it's disrespectful, I am going to say something about it. Whether I'm going to take that in, whether it's being deep or mean something, it doesn't. If they said something wrong, they said something wrong. We speak out about it, that's what it is. So everybody's got their opinion, everybody's got their view, and I've got mine. But that's to say, we never work with you, we never do this, we never do that. That's not the case because, I think he said about Tyson, you're a young pretender or whatever. He was picked up on it. A lot of things get said tongue-in-cheek, don't they? So there you are. But it's really irrelevant. Look, this fight needs to go on the biggest platform where it's going to get maximum exposure. It's a pay-per-view fight for sure. Whoever takes it, good luck to them. Sky, they've got a brilliant platform, haven't they? They hype the fights up correctly, do everything properly. Box Nation's also very good. Loads of people in the running there, even terrestrial TV. So it just depends who's going to get it. Good luck to whoever gets it.
Right. So now you're in it. This is it. The World Heavyweight Championship of the world, the undisputed Heavyweight Championship of the world. I know Deontay's got the WBC, but everyone universally recognised Vladimir Klitschko as the number one heavyweight in the world.
Sure.
What does it feel like now? I mean, you've talked about wanting the fight and getting the fight. You're in the fight, or you're a touching distance from the fight, barring any inverted commas injuries. What does that feel like now that you're now trading for the prize, the biggest prize, the holy grail of boxing? What does that feel like?
There's been plenty of big ups and downs in my life, to be honest, and I don't really feel anything. It's just, I wouldn't say it's just another fight. I know the severity of it.
Yes.
I know what it's like. And, I think it's more for the fans and the public as well. It's having an effect because I've got a job to do. It's not for me to feel or do anything. The only thing I will do, I will look at this in a magnifying glass. So I will make sure that I've done all I can and there will be no excuses on the night. So everybody's going to do their best. If Tyson's good enough, he'll take it. If he's not, he will not. So that's where we are, and I'm just looking forward to getting the fight and letting the people see exactly the true potential of Tyson. So that's what I'm looking at.
That's leading me to another great question here for you that we talk about, and you've talked about specifically. We haven't seen the best of Tyson Fury. And I've heard many trainers down the years say, well, we haven't seen the best of. To you, in your mind, in your eye, and what you see of Tyson, what we haven't seen so far, and what fans can kind of look forward to who are fans of Tyson Fury, what sort of Tyson Fury is the Tyson Fury that we haven't seen? Just a glimpse, a taste, or just a view?
Well, I will sum it up now.
Yes.
Vladimir Klitschko is the type of man to bring everything out of Tyson. Because Tyson has to be 100% to beat Vladimir Klitschko. It's only a class operator like Klitschko that can bring out the true potential in Tyson. Because Tyson has skatewalked the rest of his fights. Look, when he was out of condition and he was landing and doing everything wrong, he was a young kid in a man's body.
Right.
All these mistakes, walking into silly shots, letting his emotions get on top of him, trying to live up to what he was saying in that interview. But look, he's grown up He's a man. He's grown up. He's got his physical state, everything about him. It's 100%. He can do 12 rounds up in a one-leg round the ring. So he'll be in the best physical condition of his life. He's never had to show certain skills. He's never had to show anything because the opponents he's fought are second-rate fighters at best. So this is where we are. Klitschko isn't. He is the real deal, Klitschko. So this will bring the best out of Tyson, and people will see a different Tyson on the night.
How do you translate the levels from playing, let's say, from grassroots to national to international to world? How do you translate that to Tyson? Tyson is aware of who Klitschko is historically, and the defenses he's made. But how do you relate that to your fight and say to him, "Listen, this is not."
I can relate the answer very simple.
Hmm.
Let's get on a racing track.
Yeah.
And you've got the finest of horses, haven't you?
Yes.
The race horses. And there we are. We've got 8 to 10 in the starting blocks, and all of a sudden, in the middle, we've got a donkey. Yeah. So that's the difference in world class, and all these think they're in world class because they're protected with promoters and getting soft touch fights. So let's have a look at where they are. You've got a donkey in with a racehorse. So that's the difference in world class and not. So there you are.
That's being brutally honest, Peter.
That's brutally how it is. I ain't in the business to brutally piss around, am I?
Sky and Box. Well, I won't call any names, but there's certain commentators that will tell you that a donkey is a fine racehorse.
Well, exactly. Listen, I love donkeys. They're God's creatures, but it's certainly not a racehorse, is it?
Okay.
You got me laughing out. Listen, I'm laughing to myself now.
Donkeys and racehorses.
We've got to have a bit of humour in these interviews, don't we? Anyway, go on.
Okay. Sparring partners. Now, the Klitschko camp, Vladimir Klitschko, there's no doubt that he is the powerhouse. Can you compete with Vladimir in terms of, if Vladimir would say, look, I'm going to get all the best sparring partners out there, how does that leave you? And have you had to kind of be fishing around for sparring partners, or are you okay?
No, look, we're happy, Vladimir will have his own camp. He always has a very good camp. He's an exceptional champion. He leaves nothing to chance. But I'm very happy with the sparring partners we're also getting as well, because what I need is certain things from different sparring partners. So it doesn't really matter to me. I don't want no world-class sparring partner because there isn't really any. So nobody can emulate Klitschko anyway, really. Probably the best person to emulate Klitschko is probably, with his style, would probably be nearly my son. So it's hardly to get somebody like that. We will get tall fighters in. We'll get good prospects in as well, because the younger they are, the more ambition they've got. You seem to get these seasoned pros in, and they just seem to just flap around the ring and try and look good. And as soon as Tyson hits them, they don't want to know. They're different people when they come and spar next time. So you're better off getting young blood in there that's got ambitions and, want to show people what they can do and, try and impress. These are the type of sparring partners that I'm really interested in.
Let me throw something out there. It's a bit of a... Anthony Joshua as a sparring partner, considering the size, the power, frame, movement, I know he's not Klitschko, but he has... would that be something like a sparring partner because you're going and both British fighters? Or is that a situation that you would keep away from because it's a fight you'd have down the line, for example?
Look, Anthony Joshua, I'd like him for sparring. I don't look at all that shit, to be honest with you. A lot of these do to keep away. We've not approached them because we know what training line they have. But yeah, we'd like him for sparring. Of course we would. It's just it's a business, this is, and that's what it is. But obviously they'll have a different phase of mind because they'll be having big hopes and want Tyson down the road, and they don't want to give secrets away. So we understand their view, but their view is not mine.
So, do you believe in... What's your philosophy? Your philosophy is like, look, we're all in the same country. Let's all get the sparring partner to help old Tyson out for him to fight for the world title. Or you have the philosophy of, look, you know what? we don't want. I know you're against it, not against it, but we don't really want Tyson to be sparring against certain guys because down the line we may have to face them.
No, it's all bullshit to me, that, because a spar's a spar and everything's done for different fighters anyway. So, it's irrelevant to me. Whether they're sparred recently, doesn't matter. It's a spar's a spar, it's not a real fight and never will be.
Okay, I want to move, as we come to the end of this interview, I want to move away from, your thoughts on how the fight's going to go, and because we've talked about it over and over again. I want to talk a little bit more, touch more on Tyson Fury looking at other big fights. 2 fights in particular. First, Gennady Golovkin versus David Lemieux. What are your thoughts on that fight?
I've not seen anything of David Lemieux, so I can't really comment on him.
Okay, he's a big puncher. That's what his reputation is, a big puncher who actually comes to punch, knock people out.
I think Golovkin is the real deal. He's got everything going for him there. What I've seen of Golovkin, he's faultless.
Right.
So I'd just say it's another win for Golovkin, to be honest.
Okay, and Miguel Cotto and Canelo?
I think that's a good fight. I think Cotto's come on a great deal. I love his footwork now in recent fights. I love what Freddie Roach has done with him. I think really exceptional fighter. Again, though, is there too many miles on the clock against such a young, hungry fighter like Alvarez? Okay. So I think that's a good fight, but 60-40 in Alvarez's favour, I'd say.
Okay. And to close, because we cannot not talk about Huey Fury, what is the plans for him on the undercard? I know I've heard lots of stories about Huey Fury. Lucas Brown just fought the other night against Julius Long. Did you see that fight?
I didn't. I have spoken to Lucas. We reached out to him.
Yes.
And asked him if he wanted to fight with Huey on the undercard on 24th. And if he did, for his team to get in touch and with Nick Hennessy and see if they could put that fight together. He sent me a picture back of his hand. He's had some kind of problem with it after a long fight. But, look, I said to him, it's a long way off. So if he does heal, I know he's looking to fight again before he does get shaggy. But, if that fight can be made, we'll take it. I've put it to Lucas Brown already. So if that fight happens, we'll take that, no problem at all.
Would you take on Shagayev at this point?
Yes, tomorrow.
You'd fight Shagayev tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Okay, so other names you're potentially looking at? What sort of opponent were you looking at for Huey on the undercard?
Well, I don't know. We'll have to just see. We've always tried to get decent opponents for him, but we have to see, and it just depends. Ingram, it's who we can get. Look, they've got to fit. I don't think any fighter avoids any fighter. It's just whether it's viably right. They've got the managers, they've got promoters to deal with. It's just what it is. There's fights that we'd like to make, but for whatever reason, they can't be made. We wanted Alex Leopai, for instance, when Huey fought Arias. Right. And Leopai come back and said they didn't want it for whatever reason, and that was it. So we tried to make decent fights for Huey, along with we put it to quite a few names actually, not just him, but a few other names as well. But whatever reason it is. I don't think the fighters are avoiding anyone. I think it's just we've just got a scenario where they're not being made for one reason or another.
Do you feel the media attention, because of Anthony Joshua, is not on Huey the way it should be?
I think it's what it is. I think it needs to be where it is. I think Joshua's 26, or he's up there. He's got a high ranking. He's a gold medalist. It's his time. I think Huey's quietly doing his job well. He's I don't think he's nowhere near reached his peak. Huey, he's 20. He's 21, mid to the end of September, and but he's really coming on now. Huey, he's it's like. We only found out we've sorted out all the gluten problems. We sorted out all that. You can see his fitness and his physique is totally different. Yeah. So he's getting better all the time. He's a work in progress. We only found out the other day he's got a metabolism that goes off the Richter scale. So where somebody's got to be on, somebody of his size, a heavyweight, say 3,000 calories to maintain, he needs double just to maintain body weight.
Right.
So he's on 7,000 calories a day because he's trains a lot. So you've got to burn 2,000 calories as well. So all this is all works in progress of understanding him, his genetics, his body. But we've got it now to a fine art, and he's really coming on. Expect him to be looking like a fully mature heavyweight on the Tyson undercard.
He looked, for me, he looked slimmer in this fight, the last fight he had against Arias.
He did, and to be honest, he trained well, but he wasn't taking enough calories, and he was left to the weight, and when he weighed in, he was only like 15 stone 7.
Whoa.
And, for his height at 6'6", it's very low, that, so he is underweight. So basically, this is the reason. We've had him checked out since then, and that's the reason, because his metabolism is so fast, even 5,000 calories a day he was on. It's not enough. So now he's bumped up to 7, and he's being engaged with his body fat as well. And he's doing very well. He's averaging a pound of muscle a week, which is absolutely perfect. So he's putting weight on the right way. So like I said, expecting this next fight, he's going to be around, he'll be over 16 stone, 16.3, 16.4, 16.2 maybe. That's a good weight for you.
Surely would that have any effect on his punching power?
I think, to be honest, his punching power is getting there. It's a lot more powerful than what it has been. I think you've just got to turn the corner. It's experience, it's time, it's his age. There's all these things to play. But yeah, definitely he's punching with a lot of power. So I expect in his next fight he probably will get a stoppage.
Okay. I can't believe I'm not asking you this question. Andy Lee and Billy Joe Saunders, the fight got pulled out of Limerick, which I think is a real shame for Andy Lee. Your thoughts on the fight?
I think the two great lads. I know both of them, and I just wish both of them very well. The main thing I'm interested in is that both of them lads come out with the pride intact, healthy, good bank balances, and no problems at all, and shake hands afterwards.
Fantastic.
Because ultimately, this is a sport of boxing. I want the fighters to be coming out of there healthy and no damage. And that's it.
And good money in the bank balance as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what they deserve, because fighters on this level, and both them lads as well, will be training the guts out.
Absolutely.
So they deserve every penny they get.
Absolutely, Peter. Absolutely. Thank you so much once again for giving us a fantastic interview. It's just great talking with you and trying to get into... Team Fury and fight, because everyone's keep asking me, when are you going to talk to Peter again? We love you talking to Peter. We love Peter.
Because you know what it is? There's no hype here. I'm a normal man like everybody else listening to this interview.
Right.
I'm just a normal person. There's no hype job. There's no ego. There's nothing. I believe in God and thank God every single day. So
absolutely.
Even to have some peace in your life. So basically, that's where we are. I'm a realist. There's no room for bullshit, because you can get found out. It takes one punch.
Peter Fury, thank you so much for talking to Bayloric TV.
All the best to you, Ingram. Take care.
Appreciate you. Bye-bye.
And you. Bye-bye.